We're looking at some algebra, and in particular, we're going to be reducing some equations to quadratic form and then finding the solutions. So here's a website that this stuff is organized on a little better than actually the YouTube channel. Plus, there should be some problems in there for you work in algebra and calculus, and be adding a lot more subjects in the future. Alright, so let's make it over to the whiteboard and get started. Okay, so we'll label this one here as number 1. How's that? And you know what? We need to go with a little darker color than that, don't we? This looks like a good one here. Okay. So we're going to start off with the radical, or I should say the square root of x minus 1, and set that equal to 2x minus 3. Okay, so we've got these radicals here that we've got to deal with, but they're pretty easy to deal with. So what we're going to do here is we're going to square both sides to get rid of this radical. So let's do that. So I'll go ahead and rewrite. Squaring the radical, that'll make that radical disappear. And of course on the intermediate steps, I hope you understand how that works, right? This is really a 2 right here. You know what? Okay, let's say I rewrote this. We'll just talk about the intermediate step, but I'll only do this once. So rewriting this into exponential form, going from radical form into exponential form. Okay, if we were to square this like we're doing here, so we're just rewriting it in its exponential form, and now when we go to square it, remember we multiply exponents. So a half times 2 is 1. Right, so then we'd just be left with x minus 1. You know, it's raised to the first power, but we wouldn't write that. Okay, so that's what's happening here. Alright, so let me just go ahead and erase that. I guess it's worth mentioning. Alright, so in other words, we square a radical, the radical just disappears, and we're left with x minus 1. And we're actually, if we're going to square this side, we have to square this side over here also. Okay, and then of course we have to multiply this thing out, so we have 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3, and so we need to multiply that out. And you know what, I'm going to move this over to the left a little bit. So we end up with x minus 1 is equal to, so 2x times 2x is 4x squared, and then 2x minus 3 is 6x, and then we have negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x, and then negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Okay, so what do we got going on now? Well, we have x minus 1 is equal to 4x squared minus 12x, and then plus 9. 4x squared minus 12x. We're going to go ahead and get everything over to the right hand side. Minus x plus 9 plus 1. Set that equal to 0, so we have 4x squared minus 13x and plus 10. Right, setting that equal to 0. Okay, so we'll need to probably factor. I think we can just factor this one. And we'll start off with this. I know that sometimes it's a trial and error situation going on here. Some guesswork. So we look at 10. I mean, what are the factors? We got 1 and 10. 1 times 10 makes 10, or 2 times 5 makes 10. Now, whatever it is, we got this negative 13. But see, this is throwing a monkey wrench in the situation here. See, we could put a 2 here and a 2 here also, but I'm just hoping it's just a 4x. So two numbers multiplied together, that gives us 10. Let's try, ooh, I don't know. Let's try 2 and 5 here. So this has got to be a plus sign. So either both these signs are negative or they're going to be positive. But let's take a look at this. But we got to have a negative here. So see, because 4 times 5 is 20. And let's say that was a negative sign here. So that'd be negative 20, but then um, minus 2. No, that'd be 22. Okay. Let's try this. I think I see something here. Let's do 5 here and 2 here. Okay, 8 and 5. Ooh, 8 and, let's see. 8 and 5. 8 and 5 is 13, isn't it? If I did a minus and a minus here, let's see. That'd be negative 8. And then minus 5 is negative 13. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. There you go. So then once we have factored, okay, got the proper factorization there, what we'll do now is just set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. So in this particular case, x is equal to 5/4. Right? If we solve for x, bring the 5 over and then multiply by the 1/4 across. So we have one possible solution. Now you notice I said possible solution. This is a possible solution. And then the other one's easy. This is x minus 2. Okay, that's supposed to be a 2 there. Let's see if I can morph that into a 2. There it is. So we have x is equal to 2. Okay, so here's our two possible solutions. So what we'll need to do now is go back up to our original equation and plug those in. So let me go ahead and write the original equation down here since we can't get everything on the screen. So we have x minus 1 is equal to something, 2x minus 3. So let's go ahead and plug 5/4 in. We're going to check to see if this is a solution. It's equal to 2 times 5/4 minus 3. Okay, so what is this? This is 5/2 minus 3, and what do we get on that? 5/2 minus 3. I think this is a negative 1/2, I believe. Now, let's take a look at this. We get a negative over here on the right hand side of the equal sign, so this becomes negative 1/2. And okay, so when we square root this number over here, it cannot be negative. Okay, we can't be getting a negative. And that tells me that this side is not equal to this side. Now, when we actually do this math here, we should be getting a 1/2, and a 1/2 is not equal to a negative 1/2. So this is not a solution. Let's use a red. Let's use red over here to indicate that's not a solution. Okay, so we know that for a fact. Now let's try what's our other option here? 2. Okay, so let's try 2. So let's just do that. So we have 2 minus 1 is equal to 2 times, well, possibly, you know, I should have put right here a question mark. In other words, this is a question, this is in question here. Okay, so we have 2 times 2 minus 3. 2 times 2 minus 3. So what do we get over here? Well, we get 2 minus, so we just get 1 on that deal, don't we? And then we've got 4 minus 3 up is 1. So 1 is equal to 1. Bam. So that's a solution. So we could write curly brackets and put a 2 in here and say that this is the solution set. Right, that's the solution set to our original equation up here. The solution set is 2. Okay. Alright, let's work another one here. And we'll actually, by coincidence, we'll label that as this is the second problem. How's that? Okay. Alright, this one here is going to be a little bit longer. Just a little bit. So we have the square root of 2x plus 3. We're going to go through with the first few problems here, kind of some of the possibilities that you might see, and then we'll go back and work some easier problems. So we've got the radical here of 2x plus 3 minus the square root, I should say, of x minus 2 is equal to 2. What we'll want to do is take this guy here over to the right hand side, so let's rewrite. So we have 2x plus 3, let's finish that off, is equal to 2 plus the square root of x minus 2. And then what we'll do is square both sides to get rid of this radical. So rewriting. When we square the square root, remember that is just going to go away, so we're kind of skipping those intermediate steps. And now on this one here, I'm going to skip some intermediate steps. We're going to do it this way. So 2 times 2 is 4, right? And then 2 times the square root of x minus 2, and then we do that again. 2 times the square root of x minus 2 becomes 4 times. We add both those terms together. And then the last term would be the square root of x minus 2 times the square root of x minus 2, so that just ends up with x minus 2. So hopefully you were able to hang in there on those intermediate steps. And so now we have 4 minus 2, so that's going to give us 2 plus x plus 4 times x minus 2. And we have 2x plus 3. Alright. We're going to now take the 2x over here to the left, so we end up with 2x minus x, and then 3 minus 2. So 2x minus x is x. 3 minus 2 is just 1. Now to get rid of this radical, we're going to square both sides. Alright. And we square this, so this is going to be x times x is x squared. Then x times 1, and then 1 times x, so that'll be 2x. Add both those terms together, and then 1 times 1 is just 1. Of course, we square the 4, and that becomes 16. And then we have the squaring the square root, and that's just going to go away. So we have 16x minus 32. Yeah, 16 times 2, 32. We'll go ahead and rewrite the left side. Okay, so let's go ahead and get everything over to the left. So we have x squared minus 16, and then, oh, I took this over here, yeah. I should have probably wrote the 2x first. And then we have the plus 1, and then bringing that 32 over, that becomes positive 32, and that's equal to 0. Now let's go ahead and collect up all the like terms. And so we have x squared minus 14x, and let's see, plus 33, yeah, and that's equal to 0. Okay, so this one here shouldn't be too bad on factoring. Right, so we look at 33, I'll write that over here, little side work. So some factors of 33 is like 3 and 11. So I'm going to try that. See, we could try 1 and 3, we could do 3 and 11, or 11 and 3, yada yada. Okay, so, alright, so we have a positive, we have a minus sign here, so my guess is that both of these are going to be minus. Let's put a 3 here and 11 here. So negative 3 times negative 11 is going to be positive 33, and then of course when we add these together we get negative 14, so that looks good. And then we set both these factors equal to 0, and therefore we get x is equal to 3 on this one, and then let's do setting that, and we get x is equal to 11. So it looks like that our possible solutions, now these are possible solutions here, we'll have to check that. 3 and 11 are possible solutions. So what we'll need to do now is go back to the original equation, which I'll just have to rewrite again. So we have 2x plus 3 minus x minus 2, and this is equal to 2. So let's go now and check this out. So we plug 3 in. Right, minus, so we have to check this. Right, so this is we'll put a question mark here. This is possibly equal to 2. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. So we'll go ahead and skip everything there. And then this is 1. Now we have 3 minus 1 is 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. So that's actually checking out. Okay, so it looks like that in our solution set, 3 is definitely going to be a solution. Alright, and then what we'll do is check out for 11. So 2 times 11 plus 3 minus 11 minus 2. Okay, so this is a possible, we'll put a question mark here, possibly equal to 2. Alright, so this is going to be 22 plus 3 is 25, minus, and 11 minus 2 is 9. So this is 5 minus 3, which actually is equal to 2. So it looks like that 3 and 11, right, these are our solutions to the equation. So that looks like that checks out. So both of the solutions, their possible solutions, were actually solutions. Right. So that looks like that worked out pretty well. And let's take a look at another one where we have looks like rational coefficients. And I think this is actually number 3. Wow, we're not moving very fast, are we? These problems are getting longer. So x to the 2/3 minus x to the 1/3 minus 6. Minus 6, okay? So we're going to use what's called substitution here. We're going to use substitution, and we're going to let u equal x, in this particular case, x to the 1/3. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rewrite this so maybe you see this a little better. I can rewrite this as x to the 1/3 and the whole thing squared. So this would be the first term, minus, and then we just go ahead and rewrite x to the 1/3 here, minus 6 equals to 0. Okay. So we're going to let u equal x to the 1/3. So let's go ahead and do that substitution. So this is u right here, squared minus u minus 6 is equal to 0. And now let's see here. I think we can factor this fairly easily. Okay, so what about 2 and 3? 2 and 3, and this is a minus, so this would probably be a minus and a plus, right? So plus 2 minus times negative 3 gives us negative 6, and when we add them together we get negative 1. Alright, so we set both these factors equal to 0, and it looks like that solution is going to be negative 2, and then set this one and solve for u. We get u is equal to 3. Okay, so these are the two possible solutions, and we definitely are going to have to probably check that out. But you know what? We're not done, because remember, we let u, this was a substitution here. Okay, so we can't forget that. So what we'll do now is I'll take this negative 2, since that's u, and remember that this was set, that u was equal to x to the 1/3. And so now we need to solve for x in this problem, and that means that we'll have to cube both sides, right, if we want to solve for x here. Okay, so this just becomes what? Negative 8. And 1/3 times 3 is 1, so then therefore x is equal to negative 8. X is equal to negative 8. And then we'll have to do that for the 3. So u is 3, but remember, right, it's equal to x to the 1/3. That's a 3 there. That thing was morphing into a 5, it looked like. And so then what we do is we go ahead and I guess I'll just do it right here. We shall cube both sides, and this becomes 27 is equal to x. Right, 27 is equal to x. And then of course you can go back up there and plug that stuff in up here in the top, excuse me. Right, so there we go. Okay, all right. Well, it looks like we're having problems with the audio once again. I don't exactly know where this problem's taking place, but whatever. So this is number 4. So I'm having to do a re-recording here while as we watch the video. We have 3 times x raised to the negative 4th plus 6x raised to the negative 2. It's equal to 0. Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit different technique. What we're going to do here is we're going to multiply through by x to the 4th all the way across each one of those terms. We got to get rid of this negative exponent. We got to get rid of the negative exponent. So this is what we're going to do in order to do that. So by distributing this x to the 4th across, we're going to have 3 times x. And instead of writing x to the 4th times x to the negative 4th, I'm going to skip that step. Okay, and hopefully, I guess what I'll do is over here on the right hand side, we're going to show you. Remember that when we add exponents, of course, x to the 4th times x to the negative 4th, you get x to the 0. In other words, 4 minus 4 is 0, right? And so we end up with 1. But I'll just go ahead and write it in right now. Alright, so we'll go ahead and simplify that down here in the next following steps after we write this all out. So we end up having 6 times x to the 4th right, times x to the negative 2, and when you simplify that down, 4 minus 2 is 2, so we have 6x to the 2 minus x to the 4th, right? Distributing that across. And then now simplifying this thing down, and we'll go ahead now and write that in standard form. We'll write that in standard form. We'll start writing it in standard form. It's not quite written in standard form yet. All right. Okay, so by multiplying all the way across by negative 1, we ended up with a positive x to the 4th minus 6x squared minus 3 is equal to 0. And now what we'll do is we'll go through and factor this thing. And, well, no, we won't. We're going to do substitution. And I'm just rewriting it so you can better see what we're going to be letting u equal to. Right, so we're going to say let u equal to x squared. Okay, and now we're going to do the substitution, substituting u in for x squared. So we should have u squared minus 6x squared minus 3. And what we'll be able to do now is take a look at this, and actually we're not going to be able to factor this particular one. We'll have to use the quadratic equation. Now I'm going to go ahead and just we're going to do the silent movie thing. It's really disappointing when my computer doesn't work properly. Try to record stuff and then it doesn't record my voice. I don't know what's up with that, but it's probably tired of listening to me. This is only like my 3000th math video or something like that. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and go into the silent mode here, silent screen, black and white, just like the Charlie Chaplin movies, remember, the 20s? I can't, anyway, something like that. Alright, so good luck, just follow along, I'm sure you shouldn't have any problems, and I'll see you in the next problem. This is number 7. Actually, let's move this up a little bit. We have the square root of 3x plus 4. Yeah. And that is equal to 2 plus the square root of x. So what we're going to do is square both sides. Instead of rewriting it, we'll just do it like this. Okay? So when we square a square root goes away. And multiplying this out, I think we've been doing this in our heads the last few problems. I'll go ahead and write it out this time. So 2 times 2 is 4. We have 2 times the square root of x times 2. So that's going to make those 4 of them since they're like terms. And square root of x times square root of x is just x. Alright, let's go ahead and get this 4 and x over here to the left hand side. So we have 3x minus x plus 4, and then bringing this 4 over, you get minus 4. Alright, and so we're left with 4 times the square root of x over here on the right hand side. We'll want to simplify this down, so we end up with wait a minute. Oh yeah, 3 minus 1. I don't know. 3 minus 1 is 2x. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so to get rid of this radical, what we'll do is square both sides. We will square both sides. And so this becomes 4x squared is equal to 16x. Okay. And then let's just take this, we got to get this in a standard form. So we have 4x squared minus 16x is equal to 0. Let's factor out the 4 and the x, and we're left with x minus 4 is equal to 0. Right, so both these factors equal to 0. Of course, we have x is equal to 0 for this one. Right, and then we got x minus 4, and of course this would be x is equal to 4. So our two possible solutions is 0 and 4. Now I say possible, right, because we got to check. We've got to check it. Right, so here I'll just go ahead and rewrite the initial problem here, and so that was going to be 3x plus 4 is equal to 2 plus the square root of x. So let's go ahead and check the 0 here. So we plug 0 in. And of course we get 2 on this side. Now remember, this is a possible solution. We want to put a question mark here, and the square root of 4 is actually equal to 2. So that's good. That works out. Let's go ahead and just check the other one right over here. So we have 3 times 4 plus 4. Boy, that's not a very good 4, is it? Is equal to 2 plus the square root of 4. So we have 12 and 4 is 16. And that's going to be 4, isn't it? And of course that's 4. So it looks like that one works out. So our solution set is 0 and 4. Solution set for our original equation, which that really isn't it, but you remember what it was. Okay. Right, I think that's enough examples, I'd have to say, for this section to get you going, right? So we did some reducing some equations into the quadratic form and then solving for the solutions for that equation. Anyway, this is where I got my math videos. That's me. And actually my family name. Um, Oops. Used to be that. And actually, that was my great grandfather that came over in 1907 from Sicily. At least that's so far what I've researched out, somewhere in that area. Okay, I shall see you in the next section.